Hi, Amani.
Hi, David.
Hailing from beautiful and sandy Spain. You were just telling me before that
Yeah,
there was a big sandstorm.
yeah, we're all still recovering from the sandstorm. I know people even in Germany was struggling with this
Oh
sandstorm.
my.
So yeah,
Okay. So sand from North Africa, I guess. From
they even give it a name. I forgot the name of it, to be honest.
okay.
Yeah, we're still cleaning here. We're cleaning the entire building today. So
Yeah. So for people watching or listening, if you hear some extraneous noises, it's probably the industrial cleaning team that are cleaning up the building that's was covered in sand. Oh, Amani. Before we start, if you have these notifications, I don't know if you have a way to mute them
I just closed it. Yes.
because they're really loud on the feed because the microphone must be really close to where the sound is coming from. So yeah, I'm super happy to have you here today. We're about to start. Again, I'm loving these like cross ocean conversations about young researcher careers and it looks like it's a sunny day where you are because I see the light is beautiful.
Well, I live in Costa del Sol, so
Oh,
it's
there you go.
called the sunny coast. So yes, it is sunny here most of the time. It is, and but I believe you're next door. No, you're from Portugal.
I am from Portugal, but I'm in Montreal, Canada, which is a little bit further away. But we're summer is slowly kicking in here, so
Yeah.
eventually it'll be warm and we'll all be wearing t-shirts and flip flops.
Well, obrigada, David, for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here to talk to
De
scientists.
nada.
Hopefully,
Uh,
we can help them in some way and add some value with our conversation today.
I'm sure I'm sure we will, and with what I perceive is your energy too, which is a very positive one, and I think now the school year is finishing. There's exams, there's different things happening, and I think people need some positive energy and some positive messaging on why what they're doing now as young researchers makes sense, how it makes sense, and how it has impact. So this is why I'm super happy to have you here today. So for people who are here for the first time, this is a live recording of a podcast. So it's kind of a behind the scenes where I'm here with Amani. We're chatting a little bit. I was checking that everything technically was going well, and in a few seconds I'll actually start the podcast recording. I will share a little bio of Amani, and then we'll start the conversation from there. If you're on Facebook, yay! If you're on Facebook or Twitter, please come meet us on LinkedIn or on YouTube. I'm going to close the feed. I'm going to shut down the feed on Facebook and Twitter in a few seconds. Come meet us on YouTube and subscribe to the channel if possible. That's always it's always a good thing, and take part of in the conversation there. You can comment. The way this is set up, I can find the comments here on the right and then include them in the feed. So feel free to ask your questions and share anything that resonates with you, either on LinkedIn or YouTube. I'll be able to bring them on, and then Amani will hopefully be able to either answer some questions or just react to whoever's watching. So again, now go ahead.
Will I also be able to read the comments of people here?
The way I will pull them on screen and you'll see them.
Okay, great, wonderful.
So I'm closing the feed here on Twitter and on Facebook. There we go. All right, so we're ready to go. And that's it. I'm going to pause just a little bit, and I'm going to start the podcast. Welcome to this new episode of Papa PhD. Today, I have the great pleasure of having with me Amani Said. As a career coach and trainer, Amani is on a mission to empower as many scientists as possible in launching dream careers that are making an impact in our society. Today, Amani can confidently say she's created not only a dream career for herself, but a dream life living in Spain under the sun, as we've mentioned already. But things were not always this shiny and great. Amani has had a very bumpy ride after getting her PhD in 2007 at the Max Planck in Dresden in Germany. And she believes that back then that a PhD degree would magically attract all the opportunities along the way. Instead, she graduated into unemployment, confusion, and feeling completely worthless. Amani was very afraid of making the wrong choices and failing when it came to her career. To make a very long and painful story short, after trying out many careers, countries, and cities, she realized that what needed to change was not the job, but her. That is how the journey of personal development and coaching began. Working on her mindset and changing her habits was the key that helped her overcome most of her obstacles and achieve her personal and professional goals. That is why today Amani is training and coaching hundreds of scientists in doing the same, developing a growth mindset in combination with learning all the career development skills to launch their dream careers. This is so aligned with Papa PhD Amani. Thanks for being here.
Who is this person? I would like to get to know her. Thank you, David. That was a very nice introduction.
Yeah. So, welcome again here on Papa PhD. I think after your intro, people don't have to question themselves of why you're here today, about why you're here today. It's pretty clear that there's a mission, an alignment with what I do week after week here on Papa PhD. But before we go on, talking maybe a little bit about your journey, and I already touched upon some aspects very quickly, but maybe if you would add one thing, to this kind of picture of Amani Said that I did very quickly, what would be one thing that you'd add so people get to know a little bit more of who you are?
Okay, let me just maybe add one detail, because I am a nerd about personal development.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly doing it myself. I'm constantly being coached and trained myself. And it's like once I stop, how the Pringles commercial. Once you stop, you can stop.
Once you pop, you can stop. There you go.
As soon as I discovered personal development, I just have not been able to stop. So recently, one of my coaches and trainers helped me gain even more clarity on what it is I want. And then these words just popped out of my mouth. And I was like, within the next 10 years, I'm going to empower 10 million scientists. And just saying it is like, what? I'm going to do that? I'm going to empower 10 million scientists? But when I say that statement, it excites me so much. Why? Because as a scientist, as a former scientist, I think we're always scientists, right? Would you agree, David?
I would agree.
Yeah. Once a scientist, always a scientist. I feel that we have so much to offer to society. Not that I'm trying to put us on a pedestal and say we're the smartest and the best, but the training we have, the resilience we develop, the expertise we develop in our areas, and then all these skills, problem solving and analytical abilities, and getting so used to failing all the time, right, can be put to so much use to solve so many of these problems. And that is why I am so determined to do the best I can, while I'm alive, to help as many scientists as possible. So this is really the mission. The other part of my mission is to do it with joy. I mean, sometimes we go about our careers and our jobs, and sometimes even life, with stress, right?
Yeah.
How many of you
I think
can
it's
relate
part of integral part of modern life, as it's been kind of built up in the last decades. Sure, stress is part of it.
Yeah. So if you're listening to us and you resonate with that, let us know in the chat. Yes, I feel you, because I remember when I was a student, it was always it was normalized to be stressed. I mean, I was in my 20s and I was having neck problems, and I had to wear this neck thing. The doctor prescribed it for 6 months in my 20s. And I was having insomnia and problems sleeping and backache and you name it. And all of that was stress related. And as a coach and trainer today, I meet young scientists all the time. Same thing is still going on. Same thing. People are putting themselves under so much stress. Yeah. So I think that's what I would love to do. I would love to help scientists do amazing science, launch amazing careers with joy. It can be actually fun. You can have fun while doing this. It's possible. And one more thing, is it okay if I share one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead. No, I'm liking everything you're saying.
I'm here. Is also to do it as a community, because I've also suffered a lot from that when I was a student and in
Isolation.
academia. Yeah, like you've heard this probably, right? And maybe
Yeah.
you experienced it too.
Yeah, I've experienced it too, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and this is what I find so sad, because we don't have to do this on our own. And actually, we know for a fact, everybody knows for a fact, that innovation happens in teams, innovation happens in collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that goes for our careers and our lives and research, everything. So I say let's create communities that are supportive, where you can create these amazing careers together, and not that you
Mm-hmm.
have to figure it out on your own. Like I had to figure it out on my own, but don't do that.
I totally agree. And the image I usually use is to create a village for yourself of different people who kind of support you in different ways. But it's true that in my experience, you can be around people in your PhD, for let's say, but be low, but be in some sort of solitude inside yourself, and especially if you're dealing with anxiety, with imposter syndrome, and any other mental health related issues, you can be physically around people, but living an experience of solitude and of loneliness and of a lack of a social network, a social it's not network that I'm looking for, but a social safety net
Yeah.
in that aspect of co-creation. And I think it's a great point that you bring that up, because it's true that, especially we're talking about the PhD, your thesis is your thesis, and it's supposed to be your work, but you're not on an island doing a thesis. And I think that's where you were going, right?
Yeah. And I think, yeah, to have these open conversations where we can share these things. You're absolutely right, because in academia, we can sit in meetings and we have other students and other postdocs, and we even had tons of parties. I mean, that's why I had so much fun during my PhD. It wasn't all just misery and pain. I had the best time of my life at the same time while I was having the hardest time of my life. But
Same thing here.
I think what was hard was this kind of facade that you have to put up, that everything is good. I'm
Hmm.
good. I'm not struggling. Oh, I'm really smart. When you were like going around thinking, am I like the only stupid person in the room? Why am I not understanding this? And then you might not dare to ask the question in the seminar or whatever, right? So just being able to talk about these, doubts that we
Yeah.
might have, that
And the funny
helps.
and the funny thing is, you're thinking that, and so you're putting yourself as the one who's not understanding. But then if you were in the mind of that other person, that other colleague, everyone is kind of doing the same, and so everyone's kind of suffering for hiding something. And you wouldn't be alone having imposter syndrome, for example. And it
Yeah.
is known, it is proved, it has been accounted.
Yeah. I've even heard it from people who are directors, from group
Of
leaders,
course.
from professors. So that only proves that it has nothing to do with that external success. You can be very successful and achieve an amazing career, but you might still doubt yourself and your self worth. So
Hmm.
I think this is what I love about the pandemic, by the way. I know like some people say like, yeah, the pandemic was horrible, but I saw the transformation happening in my coaching and training sessions with scientists,
Hmm.
because we had time to finally think and reflect and be in solitude, like it was forced upon us. Yeah. We started like opening up and talking more about our emotions, talking about how we felt. And when I started giving trainings then during the pandemic, people started sharing in workshops. And I tell you, these are like groups of 30 people. It wasn't like a
Hmm.
small, intimate group, 30 people. And they were sharing in the chat, I'm not good enough. Like
Hmm.
that these are some of the thoughts they're struggling with. I don't think I'm smart enough. What if I fail? Everybody else seems to be much more successful than me. And then when people started reading these things in the chat, they just went like, oh, whoa, there are
It's not
actually
only me.
other scientists dealing with this too, right? Okay, it's not just me.
No, it is true. It is true, and I think that's why conversations like this are important. At least in my view, is to kind of normalize the fact that we're all viewing the world through our like little, little tunnel, and it's easy to misinterpret or assume things are going super well for everyone around us, and it and not, and we're the only ones who somehow are lacking, and it is totally not true. Everyone's on their path, everyone has their challenges, and then there's also another factor that I don't really like factoring it in, but thinking back, no, it is there. There's luck also, and luck you can't really how to say chastise yourself because someone was also around, or someone around you got lucky to publish here or there or publish faster or whatever. So there's a lot of reasons to kind of take a step back and relativize things and say, okay, no, this is the experience. There's challenges. I'm going to deal with them, and I shouldn't compare myself to people around me because I can't be in their shoes, and I don't know everything that's going on inside their heart, inside their minds, and in their lives.
That is so true, David. So if somebody here wants a shortcut to misery, compare yourself with other people.
There you go.
That's the easiest way to get miserable.
Yeah, it's true. It is.
If you want to avoid that, then yeah, that's the shortest cut to also feel better about yourself. I would say the best person to compare ourselves with is ourselves. If I look at myself and my journey and the growth I've done just the past year, I can look at some of these videos I've posted on social media a year ago. And I go like, wow, I grew. I've evolved. I've changed. Like the way I communicate, the way I show up, the way I feel. And then if I think back to my PhD, oh my God, like we don't have to mention how long ago that is. More than a decade. I'm like, oh my God, like it's another person. And I think that's the comparison we should be doing. And then to look forward and ask, okay, this is where I am today in my career and in my life. Who do I want to grow into? What is it that I want to become in the future? And then based on that, we can start making these decisions, conscious decisions. Okay, if I want to become more confident in communicating and having the courage to go live with David in front of like God knows how many people might see this or hear this, what is it that I need to do to feel more confident and secure in myself or practice communicating?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. But now I'm going to challenge that with something, which is I myself, now I believe, and the words that you're saying, I'm inside myself saying, yes, yes, yes. But if I go back to when I was in my PhD, I'm not sure that I had the wire, that my antennas would even be receptive to this message. And this is actually a challenge that I've had talking with like new cohorts of students, which is this cognitive dissonance on their part of, well, I'm starting this path to become a scientist, and eventually a researcher, eventually a tenured professor, and eventually very recognized in my domain. And now you're talking to me about considering my future career. Like, I want to focus on now. I just got to my program. I want to drink this culture and be fully immersed in it. And people like you, people like me, are always kind of trying to say, find some time to invest on this aspect, which is preparing for what is coming and which is unknown, which you can wish for some things, but you'll see that the universe is going to point you different ways that today you can't really know yet. So have you had, because of your experience with your coachees, have you had like breakthroughs on bringing this message and on actually enticing them to start early on this path of career projection and career building?
Yes. What a beautiful question. And I feel the same way. I'm always like, start early. Like you should start in kindergarten.
Yeah. and then we say, well, I didn't, but I really want you to. And that's why I'd like to know what your findings are on that side.
Okay, I want to zoom in even more. Can we do that? And then we go
sure.
back to
Go
talking
ahead.
about scientists. But I think if we think of ourselves as people, even not just scientists, I think when we create a vision for our life, that becomes like a northern star. It becomes like a compass that is helping us sail the ocean. Because let's pretend we're sailors and we're on the ocean and we have learned the skills of how to sail a boat, but we have no freaking idea where we're going. So we're just sailing on this huge ocean all over the place. No direction, nothing is guiding us.
Mm-hmm.
And we might end up just being stuck on the ocean the rest of our lives instead of getting to
Yeah.
that beautiful paradise island with the coconut, right?
Uh-huh.
Or whatever it is we want to experience in life. So that's why I say having a vision doesn't equal a plan. But a vision
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like a guide that is telling you, okay, this is really what I would like to create in my life. This is what I would like to experience in my life. This is how I would like to, make a difference, as whatever your job is or career is, or maybe even as a father. What's the difference you want to make in
Mm.
children's lives? And then that becomes the thing that helps us make decisions along the way. Instead of going like, I have no freaking clue where I'm going. We jump on that ship with no compass. Nothing is guiding the ship. And then you're doing your PhD and you are just so lost. And you finish the PhD and you're still lost because there's still no compass.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that metaphor makes sense, that if you have a vision, your PhD, postdoc, whatever, you can fill the gap with an X, job,
Mm-hmm.
consultancy, whatever it is you're doing, is like the ship, the vehicle that is helping you go wherever you want to go in life. It's not
Yeah.
the end of it all. It's not the final destination. But this is the mistake we sometimes do. We start the job, we start the PhD, and we just put all the effort there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, and we're encouraged to, right? We're encouraged to do that, right?
Well, I mean, but we also have to understand that the people who are encouraging us to that, they're benefiting a lot from us putting all our energy and effort only into research. I totally get it. Unfortunately, it's a little bit selfish, but they're benefiting from it, right? Because then
Mm-hmm.
you're putting in all the effort there. I find that really sad that we've normalized that. And until today, as a coach and a trainer, I work for universities and institutes where I give trainings. And sometimes people show up to the trainings and we have these 5 to 10 weeks training sometimes. And then you start seeing how people drop off. Why? Because they're
Yeah.
still prioritizing the research, or the PI says, I want to talk to you. It's urgent. Everything is so freaking urgent all the time.
Of course.
Data has to be ready now and analyzed now. And then what? These students or postdocs then still put their needs and their career work on the side because no, this has to come first. And I have even a bigger example that is even worse. Maybe I should have mentioned the countries because I don't want to give any countries bad reputation.
Okay. Let's keep the countries anonymized.
Yeah, it's an anonymous European country, but this organization is on a national level that hired me to train 200 scientists.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what they asked me? They said, can you please give the training as late as possible? Like maybe 7 to 8 in the evening. And I was like, really? Why so late? Oh, because many of these students don't want to tell their PIs that they're attending a career development training. And they cannot ask for the time, like 2-hour training,
Oh,
to go away from the lab. And this was coming from the organization.
mm-hmm. So it's a culture. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
On a national level. And that's when my jaw dropped and was like, how do you want things to change in academia if on this level we're accepting that culture?
Yeah. You're making it a clandestine operation. Like it's disheartening. But on another note, and on an opposite note, I've talked with Harinder Singh, who is oh my gosh, now I forget the university, but here in the States, and what they're doing, it kind of answers that need for not disrupting the day of the research day of the person. But what they do is it's a lunch and learn type thing. They always do their trainings with a like brown bag type thing where people bring their lunch and are doing their trainings at the same time. And I thought that was really smart and simple way to to have the PI say, you know what, they have to eat their lunch anyway. I know it's not ideal because you're kind of sharing your attention, but
Mm.
but in a way, I think there's something there. But it's kind of sad to
Compromise, but still, what's the message? What's the underlying message? That your career and your future as a scientist is secondary. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
You have to first put the research and publishing and the benefits, because let's talk about facts and numbers. I mean, we're scientists after all.
Mhm.
What do the numbers say? That the majority are going to leave academia, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not, whether you like it or not. And
Mhm.
then there's also there's also a big group of people who do not want to become professors. I mean, I'm one of the people who pursued science for the love of science. I
Mhm.
never had the thought I want to become a professor or a group leader. I just loved doing research. But I
Mhm.
didn't think ahead, I didn't have that compass. I was just like, oh, let's just do some fun experiments. So I mean, if we are not even allowed the space and the time and energy
Mhm.
to use this training, because it is a training, it's not a
Yeah.
job, to take some of that time to for our future and
Yeah.
for our benefit as scientists.
But you said something, and you just said it right now, as scientists, and this is an important point that I'm reflecting upon a lot lately, and that I want to kind of bring into my messaging, which is, okay, I have tried to have these conversations with early, or early PhD researchers, and there's this disconnect because why are you talking to me about non-research careers when I'm just starting? And
Mm,
I think what a really important point is, even if you just want to consider your scientific career, this training is important, because when you're going to want that good postdoc,
mm,
and that good position as a, I don't know how, what's the in Europe, whatever the stages, but of professorship,
mm,
you'll need these skills. And of course, your publications is going to be really important, but then other people have a lot of publications too. And so, having worked on this type of skills that you talk about, and maybe let's go into that, what people can, what people learn when they work with you, but
mm,
these types of skills are going to be helpful for your scientific career also, right?
mm, mhm. And I also want to touch about, the title of our conversation. I know we
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
got the research culture, which is so important, because if we don't get support from the culture and the environment we're in, it's difficult to work on your career.
Of
So I
course.
do see that is an important topic to at least have a conversation about, and people are starting to talk about it. So I see positive changes happening. But I gave you the title,
Yeah.
how to make an impact with our careers, because I think so many times we also feel so lost, because the focus is a lot on what's the job, what is that specific job that I'm
Hmm.
going to do afterwards. And and I see that there is this big gap between being a scientist and all of a sudden you have to make a choice of, like, I don't know, 100 different career paths out there that you have no idea about what they're like,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It makes sense that people feel confused. So that is why I say, instead of asking, what is the job? I think we should ask early on, what is the impact I want to create as a scientist?
Very good
Because
point.
then during our training, we are figuring out what are the skills I need to develop to make that
Hmm.
impact happen. So if you say the impact, and I don't know when you discovered that you want to do this contribution, when was that?
Like Papa PhD,
Yeah.
it was 2019, and it was after a bunch of conversations with students and seeing that these questionings and these doubts were always there. So it was like 3 years ago almost. Well, it's going to be 3 years in July.
Yay, congrats. And it's such a beautiful thing to do. Wouldn't you agree? When you feel you're offering
Oh
something
yeah,
that people need,
yeah.
right? It's so
Oh yeah.
satisfying. It's so fulfilling. And I think this is what people should be asking, instead of
Hmm.
what's
Hmm.
the job I want? What are the abilities that I have that will help people out there? That there are actually real life problems out there. Like, what are
Hmm.
these problems that I'm excited about, or that maybe frustrate the hell out of me, that I
Hmm.
want to go out there and I want to solve them? So I mean, I have people share this in the trainings. You know, what do you want to do? Like some people say, I really want to help increase science literacy because this pandemic showed
Hmm.
that there
There
is
are
not,
big gaps. Yeah.
right? People don't even know what a virus and vaccine is and how the immune system works. So yeah, or just awareness about a specific topic. Like I know a lot of mothers struggled during the
Mm,
pandemic as well, right? Like they had
of
to deal
course.
with kids and the household and they still had to do their research. And then
Yeah.
some of these women are telling me in the trainings, I want to support women. I want to make sure that women can have the same opportunities and have a family, that you don't have to choose either or. And
Hmm.
then you have scientists who are starting to see the lack of diversity, that oh, it's only maybe a certain skin color or a certain group of people who get the jobs or who get the
Yeah.
publications or who get to succeed, and that's why so many people are now involved in diversity and inclusiveness. So I say start asking those questions
Hmm.
instead of am I going to be a consultant or R&D or a teacher or whatever it is. What is that problem that you really want to help solving?
Hmm.
And then you can find out, okay, in which role can I do that?
Mm.
Because you'll be able to do that in many different roles. It's not going to be just one job that is going to help you do that.
Hmm.
Does
No,
that make sense?
it does. It does make sense. It does make a lot of sense. The thing is, I'm thinking, as a scientist, as a young researcher, how that translates, and this makes me feel that this questioning should start early on, like when you choose your masters, when you choose your PhD, to really find an alignment with this mission or this kind of vector that you want to go towards and that you've mentioned. So again, the message again is start early, right? Think about these things early on.
Yeah, start early, but also let it evolve, because this is the other thing I see, that people want things black and white. It's like,
Mm,
what is it I'm going to do? And I want to know now. And then they want to have almost like a guarantee that it's going to work.
mm-hmm.
And this is why I love the German language. Do you speak German?
Ambition.
Ambition. So the word for success in German is Erfolg.
Erfolg. Okay.
And the word for failure in German, do you know the word?
Ah, no.
It's so funny when you hear it. Misserfolg.
Misserfolg.
So this is what happens. Miss.
Miss
You keep missing until you Erfolg.
Erfolg.
Oh
That's
my
interesting.
God. But this is also how we do research, by the way. So
It
why
is.
why do we expect that as soon as we graduate, we're going to go straight into ultimate success after the
Mm-hmm.
PhD or postdoc? No. We're going to have to experiment. We're going to have to fail. And that is why I want to touch upon another thing that is so important that will help, besides having a vision
Mm-hmm.
and besides asking what is the problem I can help solving. We also want to work on our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't have that mindset of a learner, of like, I'm okay with failing, getting up again, failing, getting up again, or if I struggle with the idea of uncertainty, what if this job is not the one for me? What if I'm going to be miserable? What if? And then all these what ifs, what happens? They stop you from taking action.
Exactly. They freeze you in place.
They freeze you. So if you ask me what is the number one thing I help people with, it's that. Because as soon as you like unblock people's
Mm-hmm.
like, I call it like a fixed mindset, right? Either it's fixed, like this is
Mm-hmm.
how it is, and you just like whoop, you remove the blocks, and then all of a sudden you start growing your mindset, and you have more of like a perspective that is open for different scenarios, and you go like, yeah, I might take this path, it might not be the right one for me, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
try it out, and along the way I will adjust.
Yeah. It's true. Plus, I think today things are changing at such a fast pace that the job that you're gonna end up in may not exist today the way it'll be the day you get the job. So
Mhm.
thinking too much about what I'm gonna follow, with what choice am I going to make. I do think, and this is part of my, actually it's interesting because it really aligns with my reflections lately, which
Mhm.
is I think introspection is the key factor. because of all these multiverses that might happen that you don't know at all what's going to come out. The one variable that you have control on is you. Yeah.
And especially this part.
Exactly.
This part.
I love it.
And I love asking this question. It always makes people go like, huh?
Go
I was
ahead.
like, how often do you brush your teeth?
Okay.
You brush your teeth in the morning?
Yeah.
Do you brush your teeth in the evening?
And in the evening, yeah.
Why? Why do you do that? Every day? Every day?
Daily
Oh my
daily
God,
brushing.
such a good boy, David. Why do you do that?
Oh my gosh. When did I learn that was the way? It's a long time ago. That was it's something that got ingrained in here, like you were saying.
But what's
And
the motivation? What's like the
what's the why?
yeah?
What's the why is how, what's the term in English?
Dental health?
No, dental health. No, les caries in French.
Caries? When you have
Yeah.
pain. Yeah.
Well, like tooth dental work is painful, and it can be, depending on where you are, expensive. And so if you can do a little thing every day to ensure that it's going to make you healthy for a long time and not suffer these things, well, you do that little day-to-day investment, and it's worth it to me.
Did you just hear what David said? Just a day-to-day investment to keep that dental health in order. But I want you guys to replace one letter here. And maybe you, David, you already know what that is.
I don't know what that could be.
Which letter could it be that is going to help you guys in your lives?
Mental health, of course.
What do we do about that? Nada.
No, well, we relegated to second or third place, and we sometimes let it fester, and blah blah blah, and then it comes back to bite us later on, and we burn out, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah. So I just saw a post on LinkedIn by mental health. What's it called? This organization, Dragonfly.
Dragonfly, yeah.
It's for academics by academics. And the statistics was saying scientists or PhDs run 6 times higher chance of having depression, anxiety. So mental health is a big issue. Mm-hmm. But I say before we reach depression and anxiety and burnout, and I've been there, like before, we need to have those daily things, maintenance. Like we are so dedicated, all of us. I think this is on a global level that people brush their teeth. What I know. Okay. But then how many people have daily rituals to maintain their mental health?
Yeah, I would imagine not a lot.
And I think everybody would agree with me, and hopefully David too, that what's more important, our teeth or our mind? Like, what's going to have the bigger impact on our lives?
Oh yeah, the mind for sure. For sure. But then there's a question of stigma around it, and there's a question of not wanting to, again, because people compare themselves, and then you were saying it's the shortcut to misery, but not wanting to appear weak, and and the performance culture that often exists does, I think, help or contribute to the fact that people sweep it under the carpet and say, okay, no, I'm not going to show this, or if I do, there's shame, or etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's really, really important, and I'm so happy that you brought that up, because it's not all the time that we talk about mental health on Papa PhD, but it's something that I had to deal with it at the end of my PhD. A lot of people I knew, or some people I knew, also do, and there's statistics out there of the prevalence of these issues in the young researcher community. So I think it is really, really important. But maybe you were going to talk about what's the mind brush that we can use for that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that question. Absolutely. There are so many things you can do. Okay, I'm going to cover like some simple things that you can start practicing today. Okay.
Go ahead.
You don't need to go to psychologist or therapy or, do like childhood trauma analysis. Just start doing these simple things. And that already helped me, and it helps a lot of people. Okay.
She's drawing something.
I'm drawing. I like to draw. Oh, but this is not going to be great for the podcast people.
I, I'll I'll try to make it work. Go ahead.
Okay, so this big sheet of paper,
I
that's
see a
our
red
life.
spot. Okay.
It's a big sheet of white paper. And on that big sheet of paper, there is what, David?
One big red spot.
Okay, this big red spot, these are your problems. All the problems and all the issues you have and the faults you have, that I don't know, that you don't do yoga or whatever it is that you should be doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens if every day you are focusing on this spot? What happens?
Well, you only see red.
Oh my God. And that's what happens exactly to us in our lives. Because when we're putting our focus on the problems with the project, on the problems with the PI, the problems with what am I going to do next? I'm paralyzed. The problem.
It's too much negative self-talk. Yeah.
So you create this negative loop because where focus goes, expansion happens, right? You're going to see more of that. You're going to feel more of those things. So I'm not asking people to live in denial, but I want you to see the bigger perspective because this is our life. And the bigger perspective of our lives has a lot of good things in it. Right?
No, it's true. It is.
So I would say gratitude is an amazing thing to start practicing. So there are many ways you can do that. One thing I teach people is to celebrate daily wins. Like just every day, like celebrate a win. Like my win today, I got to talk to David. Yay! And I even like celebrated with an anchor. Like I have these things. And whenever something cool happens, I was like,
yeah.
And then what happens? Like you laugh, your energy goes up. So I say become really good at managing your energy. And you do that by putting your focus on the things that are working, the things you want more of in your life and in your project. Focus more on that. And then that's how also you start identifying solutions. So celebrate daily wins, practice gratitude, focus on what you want. That's a very, very basic mindset ritual you can do every day. The other one, because I've been doing personal development for so many years, it's getting really loud. Do you hear the sound?
I do hear it.
Yeah. Should I put on my headphones? I don't know.
If you hear me, I can hear you fine.
You hear me?
And
I'm sorry about that.
they're really cleaning.
They're really cleaning the outside.
It's fine. We're getting to kind of the end part of the interview. It's been
Okay.
but don't worry. I'm going to clean what I can on the sound. I just think the conversation is going so well. It'd be a shame to now interrupt it just because of that. But no, the headphones won't change anything, I believe.
Then I'll just continue. So what was I saying?
Yeah. So you were saying the other thing. Yeah.
Because I've been doing personal development for many years. And really the reason why I started with personal development was because I was miserable, and I was looking for some kind of rescue. And I thought for years I had been like changing jobs, changing careers, changing countries, changing cities, maybe if I'm in a relationship, I'll be happier. Or maybe if I have this job, I'll be happier. Maybe if I live in this country, I'll be happy. And I realized at some point it wasn't like these external things that I had to change. I had to change. That my perspective on life had to change, on myself, on other people, how I relate to other people. So what I've heard over and over and over again from all the teachers in personal development, they say that meditation is probably the best daily ritual you can do. The best. And it's not to become a Buddhist monk or has nothing to do with becoming super zen out or spiritual or religious, but it's literally, there's research on it that it really helps to improve our cognitive abilities. It improves our health, like your immune system improves, right? With the parasympathetic nervous system, right? The breathing, all of that. Like just try it out for 2 minutes. You've done it. Have you done?
I do it daily actually too.
There you go. Oh, another one. Yes.
Yeah.
And I would say that would be the daily version of brushing your teeth. The
That's
daily
a really
version
great
of
point.
brushing your teeth for mental health is meditation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I can't agree more because I know at least that for me it does work.
Yeah.
And the thing that might be a challenge is that people might associate it, like you said, with religion or this or that, and there's really a lot of non how do you say non what's the term, oh man, now I don't have the word, but
Um,
non-religious,
yeah.
non
Not, I have
yeah,
nothing to do with the ideology or belief system.
exactly.
Just for your own
uh,
mental health.
and there's someone who's actually quite active on LinkedIn, who's now sharing a lot of these really cool and simple ways and techniques. She's called Carrie Twig. I don't know if you've seen her posts on LinkedIn, and
No.
it's just like focusing either visually on something or on a part of your body. It could be on breathing, but
Mhm.
anyway, that will give a whole other conversation. What I do, and I kind of want to sum up all of what you said, starting with the that page, that
Mhm.
page with the red dot, and finishing on the meditation. And I think, if for you, it could be knitting. It could be something else than a formal whatever meditation technique, but it's anything that allows you to stop your mind from sending you these like repetitive stressing messages. If you have a way in your life that you can do that, and
Mhm.
just and then just take some steps back and see your life. And again, I also want to loop back to what you said in the beginning about vision. So
Mhm.
if you can take some steps back and see the big picture, and say a PhD is like 3 years of my life, that's going to be hopefully 120 years. you know you can say, well, I'm suffering this now, it's difficult, but it's a learning process. I'm growing through this, and
Yeah.
it's not gonna, it's not a threat to my life. And the fact that everything doesn't go right, well, it's part of the process. But if you have your head in it, it's really hard to think like this, because you're just seeing. Sorry, I'm kind of moving. I should move towards the camera, but you're just seeing what's in front of your face. And if you have something in your life that allows you to take a step back and relativize everything. And it could be also being part of a community of some sorts that's not related to your research. And it could be, so for some people it's sports, for some people it's a theater, a theater group or something.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. If you step back and see the whole sheet of paper, then you can say, oh, it's just a dot. It's not
Yeah.
it's not everything. I really really love it.
And it goes for any problem. And most of our problems are temporary, by the way. So another
Exactly.
way to see it as like this will pass, this will pass.
Hmm.
And I love this quote that I read just before getting on this podcast with you by Denzel Washington.
Oh.
Somebody posted it on LinkedIn as well. I spend way too much time on LinkedIn, by the way. If anybody ever wants to find me and talk to me, go to LinkedIn. Yeah, so the quote by Denzel Washington was that a bird doesn't doubt whether the branch is going to hold like the weight, right? Like the bird
Hmm.
stands on the branch, but it's not afraid that it's going to break, because in the case a branch breaks, what? The bird is trusting its own wings.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's not putting all its trust in the branch. And I love that quote because it shows that that's why personal growth and personal development is so important. Because when we grow the strength of our wings, if we're going to use that metaphor, even if the PhD goes really bad or we get
Hmm.
fired or we lose our jobs or we get sick or whatever, life throws at us, we have developed this strength, the inner strength to deal with these things.
Hmm.
And
That's
that's
true.
why I think personal growth, personal development, whatever you want to call it, mental health is something we should all be learning from childhood.
Mm.
How do we grow as people so that whether it's career, health, family, relationships, we can, deal with whatever challenges might come there.
Yeah. And maybe to kind of finish our conversation, and I maybe like to go back to based on what you said, one thing that can undermine that and kind of put it in peril or in jeopardy, that feeling of, I should trust myself, is imposter syndrome, and the feeling of not belonging, and of I somehow, I don't know, I got into this program, but I'm not as good as everyone else. Do you have
Mhm.
a last word for people who are listening to us and saying, yeah, but you know what, I'm just not good enough, and I actually, I don't know how I got here, I don't deserve to be here. Do you have any word of wisdom, for based on your experience, for people who are going through those feelings? And I know a lot of people go through those feelings.
I have so many, but I don't think people are gonna like this one. And this is, I think this is the first one I'm gonna share. It's the first time I'm gonna share this one in public.
Go
And
ahead.
I just had this recently when I went for a walk, but it's also based on my personal experience, and that's why I want to share this.
Of course.
Okay? I think the time when you're having these kind of days and you're like, poor me, and everything is so hard, and I'm a failure, and I'm not good enough. Again, the focus is a lot on me,
Hmm.
like me as a person. So I want to invite you then to do this. I want you to flip the M upside down. Just turn that M upside down into a we. And then we can start looking at other people and say, okay, I'm having a bad day, but maybe I can help somebody today. Maybe I can help a neighbor. Maybe I can help David. Maybe I can introduce David to somebody that I know. Like, just go out there and do some good for other people. And I know this sounds a little bit like, the Mother Teresa kind of talk, like go and help people.
Hmm.
But literally, for me and for lots of people that I know and I've coached and I've trained, it is the shortcut to fulfillment and happiness when you feel you're able to give something on a daily
Hmm.
basis, even if it's just a smile and making somebody feel better on that day. So I know you asked me one question that I haven't been able to address today, but I want to share it because I know we're running
Go
out
ahead.
of time. I'm not sure if you're going to ask it because David, you asked me like if there are three strategies
Hmm.
you would tell people who are you still going to ask me that question?
Well, no, go ahead. You can. I these days I don't follow the Papa PhD
Yeah,
script like I
exactly.
did in the beginning, but
Yeah.
it could be the last word. But you know what? Wait. Let's keep that for the last word before I say thank you.
Ah,
But
okay.
before that, so people stay on, because Amani's going to share some really three important points. But before she does, people, one way to turn me into we is to contact other people, that and to create a larger network. And
Absolutely.
right now we're on this podcast. We're kind of in a we thing because we're in someone's ears who's kind of listening to our conversation. But if this someone wants to reach out to Amani, how do you do it? What's the best way to reach out to you, to say just thank you about, for what you've shared on this podcast, or to go a little bit deeper, dig a little bit deeper on one of the on or on some of the subjects that you
Yeah.
mentioned?
So, as I've mentioned several times here in our interview, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. So, I would say connect. If you follow, that's like a one-way conversation. Okay. I don't
Mm-hmm.
get to see you, you get to see me. So, I say if you want to connect, if you want to really build relationships on these social platforms, connect. Send me a personal message because I would like to get to know you, not just have you like as another number
Mm-hmm.
in my network. And yeah, you can check out my website. You can check out, all the normal social media channels. But I do have a little gift. I don't know if you can share that, David, with everybody.
I can just give me a second. The website is successbeyondthelab in one word.com, and on Twitter it's successbtl. Uh, share the gift, and I'll try to add it in here. Go ahead.
Maybe you can put it as a banner, but for those of you who are listening, it's
Yes.
simply successbeyondthelab.com/personal branding. Why?
Okay.
Because personal branding is the best way to make an impact in other people's lives. That would
Oh.
be like a whole other conversation. Maybe we can do another time in the future. But if you ask me if there's one thing you want to learn to build an amazing career, wow. making a difference, it's personal branding. And combine that with building a network, boom, you got it. That's it.
So perfect,
Launched.
and it's so interesting because I've just given a presentation on precisely but that subject, and yeah, I do think it's the key for a lot of these issues to disappear. So successbeyondthelab.com/personal branding, all in one word, and there's a gift there for you. Now, Amani, there's this gift which is a surprise even for me. I'm loving it. People now know LinkedIn, best way to talk with you. They can also find you and just follow you on other platforms. And now let's then share these three ways, or these three strategies people can follow to have more impact, right,
Mhm.
in what they do with their career.
So, everybody, pay attention and grab your paper and pen. I want you to write this down. There are three very simple strategies, but the power comes when you implement it, right? And that's usually the hard part. The hard part is implementing the smart stuff we hear sometimes online. So, the first one is you want to create a career vision. Remember that compass I talked about earlier? You want to create
Mm-hmm.
a career vision that is so inspiring, it's going to pull you forward. Even when you're having the worst day of your PhD or postdoc, like you know what it is that you are working towards, what you want to create. And that same vision is also going to be the vision that's going to help you overcome your fears. You know, the fear of what are other people going to think of me, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear, like, just think of it when Columbus and all these people went out there and explored the world. Like, they went out there, they didn't know what's going to happen. But their vision to discover the world overcame the fear of maybe dying, right? So that's the kind of vision you want. Number one, create a vision that is really inspiring. Second, David just mentioned it here, like expand your network.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go, there's this African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Mm-hmm.
So invest time in creating a beautiful network of people you really want to exchange value and ideas with, and be part of a community of people who maybe have the same values and the shared goal with you, so you can co-create together. That's the second one. People are
Mm-hmm.
important.
Of course, the
And
village.
the third one, where is it? I have it here somewhere. Is to create an action plan so that vision of yours becomes reality. You don't just want to have it like in your head or on a vision board. You
Mm-hmm.
want to have an action plan. What are you going to do the next 30, 60, 90 days to get closer and closer towards that vision? What are the goals you want to achieve? And then you want to keep taking what?
Action.
Imperfect. The reason why this N is wrong, like I did this
Oh,
on
it's
purpose.
upside down. Yeah. Well, it's the wrong way up. Yeah.
It's on purpose because so many people get fixated on perfectionism. I
Mm-hmm.
say, I want you to take imperfect action. I want you to do things even when you're not sure, is this the right way to do it? Just go and do it. Go and do it consistently and keep taking these imperfect, small action steps, and you will get there. You will get there.
Mm-hmm. I I really love it, and I think it's a great way to finish our conversation. I was thinking of trying to sum up what you said, and I think you just did. So, people, I think just if you didn't have a pen and paper, pick it up, rewind a little bit, and take notes. I think this really resonates with my reflections and with the message I want to bring to the listeners, and I do think that trying to think about what are the opportunities for me out there, you can lose a lot of energy, and you can actually give yourself a lot of stress going at it that way.
Mm.
And the way that Amani shared today, which is the way of introspection, the way of long term vision, I think is one that will keep you. It's like having like she said. I don't even have to change the image. It's like having a compass during a storm. There can be a storm, but the compass is pointing north, and it's gonna it's gonna help you day to day, minute by minute, because you can always, comfort yourself knowing, okay, this is everything's shaky, but I'm pointing north, and I just want to thank you for that image and for all that you brought today around that image, that I think is really really important, and I really want to commend also the fact that you brought up mental health. I think and I believe deeply that anything that helps you be not be overly stressed, because some stress, there's the eustress. You've heard about this expression of eustress. So good stress is important to move us forward, but once it gets it's getting your mind in going in loops, and it's becoming deleterious to you, then it's not good. And I do think meditation can be one way, and is one way that works. It doesn't work for everyone, but again, like I also mentioned, there's other ways people find
Yeah.
to find this zone.
Find your way to connect with yourself. That's really the key. It's like having that connection with yourself. Yeah, absolutely.
Amani, this is the end of our conversation. I really want to thank you for having been here today, and I'm really really happy that we connected, and like you say, connections are important, and end up bringing up things that we don't expect and that are very positive. But yeah, thank you for having been here today. I really hope people will listen, will take note, and will engage in the conversation, and will reach out to you, reach out to me, and ask maybe for a little more clarification on this point or that point, because there's so much encapsulated in what we talked about that we could have 2-3 more conversations for sure.
Easily. I want to celebrate you, David. Is that how you say it in Portuguese, David?
Yeah, David. Yeah.
Obrigada, obrigado. I don't know the grammar.
De nada. Well,
For
obrigado is perfect.
Yeah, I want to celebrate you because this is so important, and keep up the amazing work. So this is for you.
Thank you so much, Amani.
For everybody out there who's fighting hard to do a PhD and who's really trying to make a difference, in the research and in the science, like, keep it up. I want to celebrate you too. This one is for you.
Amani, I love it. Again, thank you so much. This has been great, and all the best for your projects. And I really find that the people who work with you are very are blessed and lucky to have you on their side, to teach them all these things and to help them face all of this in a more positive way, and to end up having an impact not only on society at large but on their lives too. And I think it's important to have that someone feels that they do have the power of impacting their own life, because one of the things is you can also feel like you're just if you're in a storm and you're kind of being taken left and right, and I think your approach is one of taking control of your own ship and taking it north. So thank you.
Let's go. Enjoy the journey. Have fun.
All right. Well, Amani, this was it. This was the recording. I was gonna say I hope you enjoyed it, but I think it's pretty clear for me that you did.
So much fun. I had so much fun. It was a blast. Yeah. Are there any questions in the chat?
There were no comments, and this happens, and but this episode now is going to be living forever on LinkedIn and YouTube. Yeah. So there might be comments there, and then I will of course turn it into a podcast, and I don't know if next week or in 2 weeks, but I people who are not YouTube or LinkedIn people will be able to hear your message and get to know who you are and what you do on any podcast platform. So yeah,
thank you so much, David.
Thank you. This was great.
Pleasure. Yeah.
And thank you for everyone who watches watches this video. Thank you for everyone who also comments. If you comment, that's always so great for us content creators and coaches, and because feedback is one of the things that do recharge our creative batteries and our community helping batteries, because I think that's one of the things that drives us too.
Absolutely.
So Amani, I'm going to end the broadcast, and you can stick around. We can chat a little bit, but for everyone who's watching the video, thank you for watching up to the end. Subscribe on YouTube. That's always great. If I get to 500 subscribers, then I can do more things and do some community posts, etc. So we're close to 200. So feel free to subscribe and click on the little bell. And yeah, I'll see you in a. Well, actually, I'm going to see them soon because I have something else coming up for the PhD Dojo. But yeah, see you soon on another video.